This computer. Excellent. Hey, Scott. Glad that you could join us. Much appreciated. Excellent. So I want to do just first a little bit of introductions. Of course, you know me. I'm Daisekkei Paul, creator of the calendar, all those kinds of things. We have my friend Kyoko-san, who's going to do translation for us. She and I have worked together for a number of years, and she has been inside more breweries than almost anyone I know. She's done brewing experiences for multiple days at breweries, and just loves sake and sharing sake. And Usui-san from Daisekkei Brewery is here with us today, which is really exciting. Daisekkei is one of my favorite breweries. They're 120 years old in Nagano. Their sakes are full of energy and brightness and life, and they're really, really amazing. So this was one of the favorite cups in the calendar last year, and I was excited to put it in the calendar again this year. And I absolutely love their seasonal sakes. So I'm really excited to tour the brewery, which I've never done before. I've never made it to that town, so I want to go, and this will probably just whet my appetite for going. So thank you, Usui-san, for joining us today. Much appreciated. So the first thing we want to do is just show a little video. And so Kyoko-san, you can show that video from the brewery. This is just a minute long or so.
Can everybody see? It's gonna.
Looks good.
Daisekkei酒造株式会社専務取締役臼井祐樹と申します。Daisekkeiは創業1898年、北アルプスの銀嶺に抱かれる自然豊かな安曇野にございます。代表銘柄はDaisekkeiです。Daisekkeiとされた銘柄は、目の前に広がる北アルプスに日本三大雪渓の一つ白馬岳があり、その絶景にちなんで付けられました。Daisekkeiは誠実な酒造りを信条に、基本に忠実な商品作りを行っています。高級なお酒はうまくて当然、毎日の食卓で召し上がっていただくお酒こそこだわりを持ち、コストがかかってもやっぱりうまいと感じていただける商品をお届けしています。原料米には1等米以上の良質な酒米を用いて、飲み飽きしない地酒を目指して酒造りを行っています。Daisekkeiはその出荷量の 90% 以上が地元長野県になります。地元の皆様に支持され評価されている地酒をより多くの皆様にお届けしたいと思っています。その中でも日本酒の鮮度にこだわった、本来であれば蔵人しか味わうことのできない出来たてのピチピチとしたフレッシュなお酒をお届けしたいと思っております。また安曇野で育まれる美味しいフルーツを使ったリキュール作りも広げていきたいと思っています。安曇野は日本でも有名な名水地、北アルプスの清冽な伏流水を用いて、ここでしか味わえない日本酒を多くの皆様にお届けしたいです。
That's great. And so, Kyoko, did you want to just translate a little bit of that for us?
Yes. So the Daisekkei was launched in 1898, and it's located in the northern Alps area, where you have already seen the beautiful mountainous area, and they have been making a delicious sake, and also 90% of the production, 90% of the consumption is actually loved by the locals. So locals has always been the buying their sake, but they're happy to provide the fresh sake as many people as possible. So this is the very short version of the translation. They have a wonderful river water that is famous for the clean water in Azumino.
Excellent. And I was going to share a little presentation here as well. And just as a few more folks are coming in, I just wanted to share that. You can, yep, everybody can see my screen. Great. So here's the outside of the brewery. And Kyoka-san, can you ask Sui-san about this picture in the bottom right here?
この右下の写真は、説明してもらってもいいですか？
はい、左側が直営店兼事務所になってるんですけども、2016年に古民家再生という形で、再生工事をしてご用意してあるんですが、昔は明治時代に材木だけにして持ってきた建物になって、古民家を使ってますよということで、右下の写真入れさせていただいております。
これはごめんなさい、明治いつ頃の写真だったんでしょうか？
明治後期の写真ですね、右下は。
じゃあ結構100年ぐらい経ってるという感じですか？
そうです。建物自体、材木自体150年以上経ってる材木だそうです。
So this is how you can see the store on the left hand side, but initially they used the wood that is from like 150 years ago. This is actually the late Meiji era picture. It's using the kominka. Kominka means like the old folklore house architecture. So you can see that when they started to establish it.
Excellent. And we saw this picture before, but it's really interesting. I usually translate the Daisekkei as the Great Snow Valley. It's sort of sits right at the base of the Alps here. Really fascinating, beautiful place. So just a little bit about Nagano, and particularly in that region of Nagano. This is a landlocked prefecture. So the foods tend to not be seafood. They tend to be more buckwheat and vegetables, and sometimes some game types of dishes, duck or bear or things like that. Venison sometimes, but less seafood particularly, but wonderful soba. Of course, they grow lots of rice for sake, as well as wasabi and apples as well. Excellent. So 1898, 120-year-old brewery. And just a little bit of the brewing process I wanted to remind you all, because we're going to go inside the brewery in a moment. But one of the things that's really interesting about their toji is that he has been a toji for a long time and at a very young age. So he has a tremendous amount of experience, even though he's relatively young. So we take brown rice here, we polish it to make white rice, we steam it, then we take some of it and turn it into koji, which will be added to our yeast starter. We take the rest of it and add it with water to build our mash through a couple of days. And then we can ferment it and press out some unpasteurized sake or pasteurized sake. So that's a basic overview of the process. Here are some milling machines. And Kyoka-san, do they do their own milling of the rice?
実際に精米はそちらでもやられてるんですよね。
はい、自社精米なんですよ。Wi-Fi 環境が整ってないのでお見せできないです。
Yes, they do have the rice milling machine. Unfortunately, in that building, they're not good with the Wi-Fi situation, so we can't see that milling machine. But yes, they do have the milling machine.
And so for those of you who joined us for Takeda in Niigata, this brewery is about 10 times the size. So you're gonna notice a lot more industrial equipment bigger equipment, and it's just a different style of making sake. So I'm really excited for you to see what the differences are. At the bottom here, you can see brown rice, 65%, 59%, 39%. And in these sort of vertical milling machines, it gets more and more like a pearl or a circle as you polish. So then we are washing the rice to get the powder off of it. We want a little bit of water absorption. We're going to time that to make sure it's pretty quick. And then we're going to move into steaming the rice. Mixing the koji, which you saw a little bit of in the video. These rooms here are where there are containers, I guess, is where they're storing the koji at a predictable temperature, so they don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to work it. So we are controlling the temperature with a daki, which is a big aluminum container that could be filled with hot or cold water to mix the sake. And here are kind of a fun sequence of pictures over the first 2 weeks of fermentation. So we build the mash by adding rice and water, kind of a quarter or a third of the tank at a time. We'll see a little bit more of that. And then we can press out the sake. The first bit that's pressed out is the arabashiri. And then we can drip some of that, especially for competition sake, into these big tobindori for super fresh, exciting sakes. And then here's their lineup. We get a number of these in the US, mostly seasonal sakes. We do get this nigori over here, but I'm particularly a fan of their spring and fall seasonals, as well as their muku no sake, which is a special, very special Junmai Ginjo nama. And Kyoka-san, could you ask Usui-san a little bit about the muku no sake and about the process of making that?
無垢の酒の説明と、製造工程についてちょっと説明してもらってもいいですか？
無垢の酒というのは、3月の初旬に発売になる、搾りたてのお酒、その中でも、もろみの真ん中の部分だけを使用しまして、本当にピチピチとした微発泡感を感じていただけるような、蔵でしか本来飲めない味わいのお酒を皆様にお届けしている特別な純米吟醸酒になります。
This Junmai Ginjoshu is using the moromi in the middle part. That is usually only available for the brewers to taste, but then it's really fresh and have the zingy little, microbes are still active kind of a feel. That is distributed for people to enjoy. That's usually in the mid-March.
And I've noticed with a number of their sakes that we do get a lot of this effervescence, that they tend to be a little bit lively and lots of bubbles. Can you ask him if that's definitely a goal of theirs or sort of a signature style?
実際にこちらの大石鹸にとって、そのプチプチしたような感じの、とてもなんかフレッシュ感を感じるような、お酒だと思うんですけれども、それを目指しているということで合ってますでしょうか？
そうですね。そういった、本来の日本酒、搾りたての鮮度感があるからこそ感じていただけるようなお酒というのも商品としては、これからも発信していきたいなと思っています。
They still keep on wanting to introduce to the people about the freshness of the sake, that you can feel the freshness of the sake in the bottle.
That's wonderful. I love the freshness of sake. So that's one of the reasons why I love the brewery, is that they really capture that freshness in their sakes.
もうこちらの酒蔵さんが大好きなのは、とてもやはりフレッシュなものを感じられるというのが魅力だと思っています。
Excellent. And then one thing I just wanted to point out to people, you can see that ball in the background there. That's a sugidama. And so traditionally, we would hang out, this is made of green cedar boughs. And at the start of the season, we will hang that out. And by the time sake is ready, it's turned brown. So we were talking a little bit about that at the beginning. So, but I think we're ready to go inside the brewery. So if Usui-san wants to take us in, that'd be great.
ではぜひ、臼井さん、中の方をご案内していただけますでしょうか。
はい。じゃあ実際に現在仕込みをやってますのでご案内いたします。
Right now, they're in the sake making right now, so he will go into the sake making facility.
And Kyoko-san, what different rice do they work with? How many different rices do they work with?
酒米、いろんな種類、どれくらい使ってますか？何種類くらい？
今、うちが4種類ですね。
Four different varieties of sake rice.
Okay, and which ones are those?
どれがどれになりますか？ごめんなさい。
はい、いいえ。じゃあ一番、この青いビニール袋に入っているのが長野県産の山田錦出品用の大吟醸を仕込むお米ですね。
This is for the Daiginjo sake Yamada Nishiki produced in Nagano Prefecture.
Oh, excellent.
で、こちらのお米が三景錦という長野県の新しい酒米です。
This is the new variety of sake rice called Sankei Nishiki.
I've never heard of that.
初めて聞きました。
あ、本当ですか。5年ぐらい前ですかね、できたのが。
ポールさんが初めて聞いたということです。はい。これは、ごめんなさい、もう一回言ってもらってもいいですか？
こちらは宮山錦というお米、
宮山錦。It's the 宮山錦 sake rice.
Excellent.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。精米されたお米を見ますか？
He's trying to pull out the polished rice now. お願いします。
はい。よいしょ。
Can you see the rice?
That's amazing.
見えます。
And so that's a 59% polish there. So that's going to be for a ginjo or a tokubetsu sake?
そうですね。特別純米っていうお酒になるお米ですね。
Yeah, it's used for 特別純米。
Excellent. And all the rice that they use is grown in Nagano?
すべて長野県産ですか？
はい、基本的に弊社全部量今長野県産になっております。
Yes, 100% Nagano Prefecture sake rice.
Excellent. Oh, all right. And what do we have going on here?
こちらは蒸し米ですか？
はい、そうです。今使って上がったお米ですね。
It's just got steamed, so you're seeing the steamed rice here.
Excellent. And the machine that they're putting it into, where's it going there?
この蒸されたお米はこの後どこに行こうとしてるんですか？ごめんなさい、ちょっと音声は聞こえないんですけれども。ちょっと大きめな声で喋ってもらってもいいですか？
こちらは空気に使われているお米、かけ米ですね。
これが冷却ですよね。
はい、冷却してます。
Right now, it's going through the cooling process, so you're seeing the rice cooling machine there.
Excellent.
工程にしちゃっていいですか？
はい、お願いします。So he's going to the next stage.
ちょっと階段登ります。
Oh, did we skip over the washing? Well, we can come back to it.
He's going upstairs now.
I don't know if Amy's on, but she was asking, I think, in one of the tours about are these in the floor? And a lot of these big tanks are actually, they go up to the second floor here so they can get working into the tank.
らにしました。
So
Now-
those big tubes up top, those are where the rice comes in. So that you can see the rice moving through those big tubes.
今、お米が流れてるのが見えてる感じですか？
そうです。
Yeah, so it is actually the rice is moving in the air shooter.
そうしましょう。順番に麹室からのご案内でよろしいですか？
はい。So this is the koji room, 麹室。
This is really cool. It's kind of rare that we get to go inside the koji room. So very exciting.
今こちらに広がっているのが、先ほど、この麹風呂に引き込んできた蒸し米になります。
So this is the rice that we saw earlier. Steamed rice we'll be putting in here right after it's got steamed and cooled.
Excellent. And we're always taking the temperature of the rice. We want to make sure that it doesn't get too hot so that it kills the mold growth, or that it's too cold and it's not growing.
今、温度は何度ぐらいでしょうか？
これはですね、センサーの温度計なので温度表示が書いてなくて、私も困ってます。
なるほど、そうなんですね。
あった。
And so how many hours or days has this been growing?
You can see the temperature there.
26 degrees?
Yeah, 26.
本当はもう少し高いと思うんですけどね。
Usually it's a little bit more higher. 麹室には何日ぐらいとかっていう説明をしてもらってもいいですか？どれくらい麹米に時間かかるかとか。
麹自体が育つのには丸2日間、48時間かけて弊社では麹を育てております。
The koji rice will be made in 48 hours. It takes 48 hours to make the koji rice.
1日目の作業として、今こちら、ふかし上がったお米をこちらの部屋で、麹種をもう振った後の状態なんですけども、振って表面を今乾燥させる、乾かしてあげている状態です。
So this is the first day actually. They have already sprinkled the koji spore and mixed it. Currently, they're trying to dry out the surface of the rice a little bit.
皆様ご存知の通り、麹っていうのは、ふかしたお米に麹菌というカビの一種を生育させたものになります。
As you may know, that koji is a spore, the bacteria, the fungus that is actually moldy and will sprinkle on the top of the rice to make into the koji rice.
このように表面を乾かすことによって、麹の菌糸が水分の方のお米の中に食い込んでいくことによって、酵素力の強い麹が出来上がります。
The reason why he wants the koji rice to dry out a little bit on the surface is because the koji spore will penetrate into the center core where there's a moisture. The koji spore will always go into where the moisture is, and then that makes a very good koji rice that can ferment well because of the enzyme power would be penetrating into the center core of the rice.
And does he have multiple koji rooms?
麹室はいくつかあるんですか？それともこちらだけでしょうか？
大設計には麹室が実は3部屋あって、こちらが1部屋目で、もう2部屋目がこちらになります。
Yeah, that was the first room, but he has 3 koji room. This is the second koji room.
こちらが2日目の仕事として、この金属製の箱の中に、麹を薄く持って、こちらで温度と湿度を管理しながら2日目の作業、麹を育てております。
The second day is to put it in this stainless steel container that can manage the humidity and also the temperature. This is the second day.
And so you can see here on the second day, do you see how it's almost fuzzy? It has a little bit of like a white sort of fuzz to it. That's what we're looking for, and that's the mold that's growing on the rice. So if you were to taste that, it'd be really sweet.
わかりにくいかもしれませんが、ところどころ透明ではなくて白く見えてる部分が麹が、増殖してますよっていうサインになってます。
Yeah, it's exactly what the Paul said. The whiter it gets, it means that the koji spores is growing.
こちらが今2日目でだいたい、お米の温度が34度ぐらいなんですけども、ここから最高温度まで43度ぐらいまで、温度を上げて、一晩麹を休む、ここでまた育てていきます。
So it's right now 34 Celsius, about 33, 34 Celsius. Yes, it's 33 Celsius right now. But then they aim to bring over the temperature up to 43 Celsius. And it takes about a day to, on the second day.
現在の設定が、この設定で33度で品温が。で、38.5度まで上がったら温度下げていくっていう形で、最終的には43度まで上げていくよという設定の仕方になってます。
So as you can see right now it's the 33 Celsius going up to 38.5, but eventually there's a button that you can see on the right hand side which says 43.
Kyoka-san, do they do any white koji or black koji, or is it all yellow?
木麹以外に白麹、黒麹を使ったりとかはしますか？
弊社は木麹のみですね。
Only the yellow koji that they're using. 木麹 only, not the white koji or black koji.
Got it.
一応3つ目の部屋があるんですが、こちらでは純米吟醸や大吟醸の麹を育てている部屋になります。
It is the third room, only making the koji rice for the junmai daiginjo or the ginjos, the premium sake.
So they're using these boxes to control the temperature, and so these are more labor intensive, and so that's why they're using them just for the daiginjo.
特定名称種が
特定名称種についてはこちらも使うし、先ほど見ていただいた機械も併用して使っていきますが、やはりこちらで作業すると全量手仕事になってしまって、蔵人の住み込み、泊まり込みでの仕事も必要なので、より付加価値の高いものだけはこちらの設備を使って麹を育てています。
Yeah, so for those, for the premium sake, like a daiginjo, which requires a lot of work, sometimes kurabito have to stay at the brewery to work on this. It's quite labor intensive, but this is for the premium sake.
Kyoka-san, Miles had a really good question. Do they ever add water or to the koji as it's growing, or does it have enough humidity that we don't need to add water?
実際にその湿度を加えるために麹米に水をかけたりとかそういうことはしたりはしないんですか？十分に湿度が部屋にあるんですかっていうふうな質問が来てます。
どちらかというと、乾かしてあげるという作業の方が多くなります。なので、湿度を足すというよりは水分をどんどんと抜いていくっていう方なイメージの方が強いですかね。
It's more of drying out the koji rice because they want the koji spores to be more in the center. It's not like adding any water or it has the humidity, but trying to like dry the rice right now.
こちらが出来上がった秋田仕込みに使う麹です。
This is the koji rice that is already completed, so it'll be used for tomorrow.
Excellent. And what are we making tomorrow with it?
こちらの方はどんなお酒を明日作られるんですか？
こちらは、三景式という先ほど説明した長野県の新しいお米の、純米吟醸になる、お酒で、実は、無垢の酒になるお酒です。
So this is going to be the Mukunosake making Junmai Ginjo using the new sake rice variety, Sankei Nishiki.
So the Mukunosake is going to have that new rice with it in it.
Yes, Mukunosake will be using this new variety of sake rice.
Very exciting. I'm excited to try that.
This was they're doing a virtual tour of a place where they make sake. I guess it could be drinking sake.
Is that
Daisekkei.
like rice?
That's right.
Somebody on mute there. Cool.
じゃあ、麹作りの次、酒母の工程をご案内します。
Now on to the yeast starter mash shubo room.
So after we build that koji, then we're going to introduce the yeast to start converting the sugars that we just made into alcohol.
This is the shubo room, yeast starter mash to make the yeast starter mash.
Oh, look at that. We can see it bubbling away. And Kyoka-san, how many different kobo do they use?
何種類の酵母を使ってらっしゃいますか現在。
現在、大設計では6種類かな、酵母の種類としては。
6 varieties of yeast, 酵母 yeast.
Wow. And are all of those local to Nagano as well?
そちらも長野県産のものでしょうか
酵母については、こちらの絞り使っているのが、701。
It's 701 for this starter mash.
で、こちらの種母の酵母は境界9号ですね。
This is the number 9 yeast, association yeast.
Number 9 is one of the most common ginjo yeasts because it produces really nice, pretty ginjo fruitiness.
で、ちょうど、はい。で、こちらの種母は、7号の種母なんですけども、普通種の種母になります。今が最高温度になってきているので、泡が隣のタンクよりもかなり高く上がってきています。
Now this yeast is number 7, but it's at the highest temperature right now, so you can see it's foaming.
Got it. And Kristen asked about the open fermentation. How is the yeast added? The yeast is typically in a vial, and it's just added and mixed in. Yeah. Do we have Kyoko-san? Do we have some of the mixing equipment in the room that they can show us?
臼井さん、例えば混ぜるような、もの、貝とかそういうものありますかね、そちらの部屋に。
解剖ですか？
はい、解剖とかありますかね、どれで混ぜてますか？that one.
これ解剖です。
This is the 解剖to mix.
特別ですよ。
Yeah, this is special. He's mixing it.
Wow, look at that bubbling. It's very active.
すごい発酵してますね。プツプツしてるのが見えます。
Wow.
はい。
That's great.
一
And what was
本一本表情が違うので面白いですね。
You can see that the expression of the fermented yeast starter mash is different, so it could be interesting for you guys.
Yeah, and so when it says number 19, is that yeast 19 or is that just tank 19?
この19って書いてあるのは酵母の番号じゃないですよね。これはタンクの番号ですよね。
おっしゃる通りです。タンクの番号です。
Yeah, it's the number of the tank.
Okay.
約2週間かけて種母、目的とする酵母を育てまして仕込みに使っています。
It usually takes about 2 weeks to make the yeast starter mash, and if the yeast is enough, then they would put it in the tank.
So that's
ちょうど今仕込みを行っておりますので、仕込み室に移動します。
Okay, going to the shikomi tank, the fermentation tank.
so here we're on the second floor, and these tanks go all the way down. Really big, really big tanks. So these are actually pretty dangerous. You don't want to stick your head over the top of them because you get a head full of CO2 and then you fall in and it gets really hard to get you out. So that's why you have these wire mesh over the top of them. So are we adding?
仕込みを行っているタンクですね。8枚、2枚が飛んできてます。
Now for the air shooter, the steamed rice is coming in.
So we're adding steamed rice and we're adding water, and then we're adding that starter from the smaller tank that we just looked at. So typically on day one, we're going to fill up about a third of the tank, and then let that ferment. And if you all have questions, just type them in there. JJ, try to keep them, general that other people might be interested. Yes, Andrew, the rice is being blown through those
You may
tubes.
not be needed.
Kristen, what did you want to know?
この辺のタンクで説明します。
はい。
お酒の仕込み、こちらをホワイトボードを見ていただくと、一番左が日付、もろみ日数、あと品温ですね、もろみの温度というのが記入されています。
Every day they put, the temperature. You can see that it's today is the 21st on the 16th area. That's the temperature right now, 10.8 Celsius.
上が今年の仕込み27号、7本目の仕込みの、通種酵母は701号、境界701と使ってます。
So this is the number 27 tank that they have brewed this season using the Kobo is 701. That you can see on the top level.
で仕込み、普通種なので7度前後で仕込みまして、約1週間かけて温度を上げていって、1週間から10日の間に最高温度を取ったら3日間ぐらい温度をキープします。
So usually this is the futsushu. So starting off from about 7 Celsius, and then in about a week, it will raise the temperature for 7 to 10 days. But this is futsushu. はい、最高温度を取ったら、はい。
10日目以降はどんどんまた温度を下げていって発酵を促していってあげます。
And gradually after the 10 days, they would start dropping the temperature. The highest temperature would be the 10th day.
大石家の場合、普通種であっても大体もろみ日数は25日前後になります。
Even though futsushu, Daisekkei usually takes about a month to make the sake.
Kyoko, how big are these tanks?
このタンクの大きさを教えてもらってもいいですか？
タンクは約1万1000リッターのタンクになります。
11,000 liter tank.
Wow, and how many tanks do they have of that size?
そのタンクのこのサイズは何本ぐらいお持ちなんでしょうか？
弊社大石家では仕込みタンク、このサイズのものが全部で17本あります。
17 tanks.
17 tanks. Wow. And that's more than in this room, yeah? Or they're all in this room?
こちらの部屋に全部あるんでしょうか？それとも他の場所にもあるんでしょうか？
こちらで17本全部あります。
Actually, 17 of them are located here.
Wow. Okay. And how many different types are they making right now?
何個今実際にその17個お持ちだってことなんですけど、すべて今使われている感じでしょうか？それともまだ空いているものもあるんでしょうか？
順番に使っていくので、何本かはまだ空いてるものもあります。
They make the sake gradually, so it's not like all of them are filled up. So there are some of the tanks that are still vacant.
ちょうど今日も、普通種ですが、1本絞ってます。
So right now, it's Futsushu, but they're pressing out the sake right now.
So again, with Futsushu, and you've had a couple of those in the calendar, we're adding some brewer's alcohol right before pressing. And Kyoka-san, with their Futsushu, are they adding amazake or sugar, or are they adding anything else?
Futsushuに入れられるのは醸造アルコール以外に何か足されているものあるんでしょうか？糖類とか何か足されたりとかしてるんでしょうか？
うちは足してないです。
No, they don't add other stuff other than the 醸造 alcohol.
Just the alcohol. Okay.
で、タンク、下の方に飲み切って、もろみをここから吸い出して、ヤブタプレス機まで引っ張っていってます。
So you can see this hose that is connected to the yabuta, the pressing machine.
And the Yabuta is kind of like Q-tip. It's a brand name, but that's like the name that everybody uses. So that's going into this big pressing machine.
こちらがヤブタ室になります。
So this is the room for the yabuta, the sake pressing machine.
And they have two big pressing machines there. We also saw in the video that they do some drip method sakes as well, but most of their sake they're going to use these big hydraulic presses to separate the sake from the lees. Kristen asked earlier that she saw some wine barrels. Were those used for a special batch?
なんか質問が入ってきてるんですけれども、一番最初の頃にワインの樽みたいなのが見えたように思うんですけれども、それは何に使われてたんでしょうかっていう質問が来てます。
ありがとうございます。長野県塩尻にあるワイナリーさんのワインの樽を譲り受けて、その中に日本酒を貯蔵して商品にしています。
それは商品としてあるんですね。
はい、ご用意します。
Actually, they do have a sake that is stored in the wine barrel from the Shiojiri winery, so that they do have a sake that is matured in the wine barrel.
これワイン樽です。
This one, can you see it?
Yeah.
That's the sake. Can you see that bottle?
Yeah.
ボイスワインさんというところのワイナリーさんとのコラボ商品です。
何ワイナリーさんですか？
ボイスワイン。
ボイスワイン。
Aged in wine barrel. That's great. Is it a red wine barrel or a white wine?
これは赤ワインのバレル、樽ですかね。
赤ワインと白ワイン両方とも譲っていただいてます。
Actually, for both red wine barrel and the white wine barrel, they've got it from the winery.
Very nice.
赤ワイン樽はメルローダルで、白ワイン樽の方はサルドネの樽ですね。
The red wine is the Merlot, and then the white wine is the Chardonnay wine barrel.
So what JJ and I were talking about in the chat, see underneath the Yabuta machine, there's a conveyor belt that will take the kasu, which is the leftover rice, and they just scrape it out, and it drops right there in the bottom, and they can take it out. And then you can use that to ferment fish or pickles or other types of things. Make skincare products.
聞こえてますか？
はい、聞こえてます。
絞り上がった、どこまで見えるかな。もろみを説明すると、このホースの中を、もろみが通っていって、この機械の中に入っていきます。
You might can see that the moromi is actually going through this force and going up there and on the yabuta.
で、下のホースから、絞り上がったお酒が今これ絞れてるお酒見えますかね、ホースの中。
Yeah, you can see that's already pressed out ones are running down. You can see that it's moving.
And Kyoka-san, how long does it usually take to press a batch?
一つのタンクを全部絞るのにどれくらい時間がかかるんでしょうか？
もう約半日かけて絞り上げてますね。
It takes about a half day to press out the sake and divide with sake kasu.
で、今こちらのタンクに絞り上がったお酒が溜まっています。
Now you can see that the sake that's just been pressed out.
で、絞り上がったお酒は、またポンプで送って、タンクの中に送っております。
And then it goes to the storage tank. なんか質問が来てるんですけど、絞るのに朝何時から何時ぐらいまで結局、1万1000リットルですよね。それを約半日っていうと、6時間ぐらいかかるってことで合ってますか？12時間。
12時間かかってます。はい。
Yeah, so it takes about 12 hours. When you saw that 11,000 liter tank, it takes 12 hours to finish pressing.
Got it.
どうしましょう。何か他に見たいところと、一応簡単に蔵のご案内いたしましたが、大設計の設備はこんなところで酒造りをしてます。
Yeah, so these are the facilities that he showed us. Is there any other questions, or is there anything that you want to see?
So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the two sakes that are the third and fourth one there from the left. The third one there is the spring nama. It is really lively and really, really wonderful. And then the next one, the fourth one, is the muku no sake, I believe. So that's the sort of really ginjo, really fruity, really wonderful sake. The ones on the right are have fruit added to them. I've had the strawberry one, but I haven't had the other. Is that apple or is it yuzu?
右側のは柚子ですか？リンゴですか？
そうです。これは柚子です。
That's yuzu.
Great.
で、これいちごです。
That's strawberry.
And can you tell us a little bit about the process of how they make those?
リキュールの作りについてちょっと聞きたいんですけれども、どのように作られてますか？
こちらいちごのリキュール、柚子のリキュールともに、大設計の純米酒ベースのリキュールになってます。
It's the 純米酒 base for liqueur. 実際に果実を混ぜてってことですかね。
そうですね。いちごの場合は、この地元安曇野産のいちごをいちごの粒のままいただいてきて、自分たちでペーストにして、そこに純米酒と、お砂糖で補糖してあげて商品にしてます。
Actually, they buy the whole strawberry and they make it in a puree form. And then they're the ones who would be making into a purees and adding the sugar and then add the junmai shu.
Got it. And just for anyone that doesn't know, Nagano is very famous for their strawberries. They have some of the best strawberries in Japan. Excellent. And is the yuzu grown in Nagano as well?
柚子も長野県の柚子ですか？
伝えたかったんですけど、すみません。柚子は四国の柚子です。
That's from Shikoku. Yuzu is from Shikoku area. It's the Shikoku Island.
That's where the best is. Yeah.
Ah.
That's good. Kristen had a good question. The labels and the bottles, are they doing all of that themselves, or how does that work? Are they printing the labels, or they buy the labels?
ラベルのデザインとかは、自分たちで何かやられてるんでしょうか？自分たちで何かそれとも外になんか外注されて、なんかデザインを決めてもらってやってたりするんでしょうか？
そうですね。こちらと、こういったトラディショナル、昔ながらの商品については、もう色違いのシリーズ化という形になっております。
それはもともと昔から変わらずっていう感じですかね。
そうですね。はい。
Those, Daisekkei signature brands are very traditional design. It has been this for years. Yeah, it's not like it's more like the traditional like design from the very old times. あと、なんかパッケージとかそういうようなラベルみたいなのは自分たちで貼ったりとかしてるんでしょうか？それは外注で作って、印刷は外注で作ってっていう感じですかね。
はい、印刷は外注で、デザイン自体はデザイナーの方と、また、この2つの商品については日本綿毛主会さん限定商品になるんですけども、こういうのは日本綿毛主会さんとも話をしながら決めていっております。
Yeah, this is actually the limited version for the Japan prestiges, Meimon Shukai. So, of course, for the labels, they would discuss as to what with the Meimon Shukai, and then we'll ask the designer to make the label. But for the printing, it's outsourced.
Got it. And this the second one in, is that the same as the cup that we have?
2番目のってカップのと同じですか？カップ酒と同じですか？
これかな。そうです。こちらカップ酒と同じ商品になります。
That's the same with the cup sake.
Yeah. Can he tell us a little bit about the brewing process for that one?
その、カップ酒になっているお酒の説明を、製造工程についてちょっと説明してもらってもいいですか？
はい。こちらは大設計の純米吟醸という商品なんですけども、宮間錦、安曇野産の宮間錦を 55% まで精米した、酒米を使用して仕込んでいる純米吟醸になります。
This is the Junmai Ginjo sake using the sake rice that is polished down to 55%, made in Nagano Prefecture.
使用している酵母は境界18号と、10号、境界10号の2つの酵母のブレンドで仕込んでいるお酒になります。
It's actually the E-Star blended number 10 and then 18. 15と18号ですね。
15と18号。はい。
Excellent. David Graham really likes it. Is there anybody else really enjoy this one? It was a favorite last year, and so it's one of the few that I had to bring back in the calendar because it was such a favorite.
なんか、美味しいと皆さん喜んでらっしゃるみたいで、去年も好評だったので、今年もぜひそのカレンダーに入れようっていうふうに思ったそうです。
ありがとうございます。あと今年ちょっと、こちらのアルプス吟醸という商品なんですが、こちらが今ここロゴ見えにくいかもしれませんが、イギリスで開かれたインターナショナルワインタレントという賞で、トロフィーをいただいたお酒になります。
Well, this Ginjo sake actually, it's called Alps Ginjo, but it won the International Wine Challenge in London, and it was the trophy award, so it's the best award.
Do they have their bottling line? Could we see the bottling line, or is it outside of the Wi-Fi?
ボトリングしてる、瓶詰めの、場所って行きますかね？それか、Wi-Fi はあまり良くない感じですかね？
いつだけ行ってみますか？
Okay, let's go, he said.
All right, let's do it.
ありがとうございます。
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
はい。Wait a moment, he will be there.
This is really cool. I also want to ask, after we see the bottling line, I want to ask about the hiyaroshi.
Okay.
ちょうど今、お昼休憩に入ってしまったので、電気が落ちてます。
So right now it's 12 noon, so that the workers are having the lunch break now. So, the light is down, but usually the workers are working on bottlings and labelings but right now workers are taking a break.
すみません。電気がつけられないので、ちょっと暗い中での案内になります
はい。
が、こちらが弊社の瓶詰めラインになります。
This is the bottling line.
はい、どう。これが瓶を洗う機械。
This is the washing of bottling. I think he said it was a little bit choppy, but I could hear he mentioned something like washing. 実際に瓶を洗う機械ですよね。
そうです。これが瓶を洗う機械で、このコンベアの上を洗われた瓶がこの中に、部屋の中に入っていって、この機械が充填するマシンですね。
This is the bottling machine that puts in the sake. Earlier was the what we saw was the washing machine, bottle washing machine. This one is the filling machine. I think it might have frozen.
はい、これが、ここで王冠を打線する機械です。
This is the capping part. そうですね。ちょっとフリーズしてるっぽい感じですね。今。
And how
Can you
fast?
see on the
Oh, we had a question about how
で、
fast
これ打線したものが、
bottle the sake.
質問が来てるんですけれども、1本間で何本ぐらい、詰めたりとか、打線とかできるんでしょうか？
うちは1時間で1500本ぐらいの瓶詰めラインですね。
Oh, so 1,500 bottles for 1 hour.
Wow, that's fast. And for the cups, did they pasteurize those before they went into the cup and also after, or what did they do for the cup that we're drinking?
カップ酒飲んでるものに関して、どのような火入れをされてるんでしょうか？カップ酒に入る前に火入れをされて、カップに入ってからも火入れしてるとか、何かそういったのを教えてもらえますか？
はい、カップ酒につきましては、熱使充填、パストライズしたものを、充填して、この長い飛んでるような設備で、急冷、冷やしてあげてる商品にしています。
So actually, right before being inside the cup, it's pasteurized, and then after they put it in the cup, they are cooling it in here. So they have the machine to cool it off right after it's been packed.
Got it. So they don't do a hire after bottling it, only before.
実際に火入れは一度だけっていう感じですか？
カップ酒については、貯蔵するタイミングで火入れをして、貯蔵して、タンクで貯蔵して、瓶詰めするときの再度火入れする二度火入れの商品ですね。
It's twice pasteurized. So right before storing into the tank, it'll be pasteurized once. And then right before it'll be bottled in a cup, it'll be pasteurized. So it's twice pasteurized.
Got it. And how long is it rested before they put it in the cup?
どれくらい、火入れした後、少し時間を置いてカップに入れるんですか？それとも直接、温かいままカップに入れちゃうんでしょうか？
温かいまま、熱使充填、 温かいまま、瓶に入れて、その後に冷やすっていう感じですね。
So actually, it is bottled right after the pasteurization. So the sake is actually hot, but they would put the cap and then they would go through the cooling process.
And these are storage tanks?
これは貯蔵タンクですよね。
はい、貯蔵用のサーマルタンクですね。
Yeah, this is the storage tank, the thermal tank to keep the sake in the temperature controlled tank.
Do they brew all year round or is there a seasonal brewing?
すいません。季節、年中、お酒を作ってらっしゃるんでしょうか？それとも缶作りでしょうか？
うちは、その酒造り自体は10月からスタートしまして、4月のまでの半年間ですね。
10月から4月ですね。It's only 6 months, actually starting from October and then ending in April.
Oh, okay.
So not year round.
Got it.
So
And we
not
had a
year
couple
round.
of different questions about the about temperature control. In the fermentation tanks, I saw that we had the daisekkei, the big aluminum canisters. Do they also have a jacket around them to control temperature?
実際に抱きは見たんですけれども、タンクの周りに、例えば温度をサーマルタンクは見たんですけど、それ以外にタンクにジャケットみたいなのをかぶせたりとかってするようなこともされてますか？
弊社は、仕込みタンクは全量サーマルタンクです。なので、ジャケットは使ってないです。
Oh, they have implemented the whole thermal tank. So, they don't have the other tanks that have the jacket on. So everything is thermal tank.
Got it. Okay. And can they tell us a little bit about why they've decided to do the thermal tank versus the jacketed tank?
なぜサーマルタンクを導入しようと考えたんでしょうか？ジャケットをかぶせるのではなくて。
サーマルタンクの方が、ジャケットで巻くよりも、温度のコントロールは、統一してできるので、すべてのタンクで。コストはかかりますけども、極力サーマルタンクを導入しようということで、平成14年からもうだので、20年以上前に導入した設備になります。
So since 20 years ago, they decided to go with the thermal tank because it can control the temperature. The one that has the jacket on is, unstable in a way, so that they decided to go with the quality and try to implement the thermal tank since 20 years ago. So every tanks are thermal tanks.
Oh.
It's actually pricey though.
Yeah, very expensive, and they were very early to do that. Are there other things that they are trying to innovate or do differently right now?
なんか他の酒蔵さんと比べて何か違うようなこと、に取り組んでるとか、そういったようなことがあったら教えてください。
はい。ある程度製造規模のある蔵なので、他の蔵さんみたいに瓶貯蔵が多いわけではなくて、貯蔵よりもこうやってサーマルタンク、これは今年の10月に導入したばかりのサーマルタンクなんですけども、サーマルタンクで使うことによって、今これ新酒の純米吟醸が入っておりますが、氷点下5度で囲うことができる、貯蔵できることができるので、フレッシュな状態をより多くのお酒でキープできるというのが、設備を導入しているというのはちょっと特徴かなとは思います。
Probably the characteristics of the brewery is, compared to the other breweries, they have thermal tanks that they can store the sake in -5 Celsius. That can keep the freshness quality. This is the one that has been implemented in 2023, October 18th, so it's relatively new. So it has the new freshly made batch Junmai Ginjo sake stored there. So unlike the other breweries that keep the sake in the bottles, they are keeping the sake in the thermal tank.
当時の長手です。
This is the head Toji. こんにちは。I'm across with the head Toji.
どうしましょう。どこまでこれでどうすればいいですか。
Is there anything else that you want to see?
We did have a question earlier, if Usui-san has a favorite sake that they make.
臼井さんが一番好きなお酒はどれですか？
ありがとうございます。弊社の特徴としましては、実は地元の人が一番飲んでる普通酒というものが、一番力を入れているというところもあるんですが、無垢の酒をはじめ、特定名称酒でも大設計うまいんだよということを皆さんに知っていただきたいと今思っているので、やっぱり純米吟醸には力を入れて、仕込みを行っております。
臼井さんが一番好きなのは純米吟醸の無垢の酒ですか？
私はカップ酒になっている純米吟醸が一番飲みやすいです。
He loves the カップ酒純米吟醸. He thinks that it's easy to drink and also he likes it. That's his favorite. Of course, the sake brewery itself, they are pretty well known for the futsushu for the local people, but then he wants other people to try their junmai ginjos and more premium stuffs as well.
Got it. JJ was asking about the filter after pressing the roca. If they could tell us a little bit about that.
ロカについて教えてもらってもいいでしょうか？
ありがとうございます。先ほどちらっと見えたんですね。
はい。
通酒に関しては、このプレス機を使ってろ過をすることもございますが、基本的には、もうこのろ過機を使うことがだいぶ減っていまして、こういった SF フィルターという細かい目のフィルターでこすだけという形のろ過が多くなってきています。
Yeah, before that, the earlier you saw the round tank, round filter. 昔のちょっと見せてもらってもいいですか？ That was for the pressing of the 普通酒, but recently they don't use this much. It's called lint filter, but they don't use this one not much anymore. 今使ってるものの方を見せてもらってもいいですか？これが昔のですよね。昔のっていうか、結構前に使ってた。And then this is the fine filter that they use it for the filtering. It's called SF フィルターって書いてありますか？
そうです。SF フィルターって書いてあります。
It's called SF filter.
We had a question about developing new sakes. Are they working on any new sakes right now or in the last couple of years?
この数年の間に例えば新しいお酒を開発とか、何か新しいものに取り組んだりとかはされてるんでしょうか？
そうですね。今期、2023B ワイドの話をいたしますと、春に仕込むお酒で、リンゴ酸を多く作るリンゴ酸多酸性酵母を使用して、低アルコールのお酒に取り組もうと思っております。
Oh, they're gonna challenge making the new sake in 2023 brewing year, which is happening soon. But they're gonna use the apple cider ish, the acid that can bring over using the yeast that can derive the apple acid-ish flavor. But that's gonna be the local content.
Nanago Kobo?
長野7号工房ですか？
長野の R 工房って呼ばれている長野県で開発された工房ですね。
The Kobo is cultured in the Nagano prefecture called Nagano R Kobo East. Nagano R Kobo East.
Interesting. So that's different. So we've had a yeast 28, and the 77 sakes. We had a yeast 28 in the calendar. But this seems like a different yeast, but it's a high malic acid as well.
Yeah, it is. これ、
Yeah.
そうですね、クォーター酸っていうか、酸度が高いやつですよね。
そうです。酸度が高くなる予定です。なので、ポールさんおっしゃっていただいた77号みたいな特徴を持っている酵母の一つだと思ってます。
Yeah, it's very similar to 77 cobalt yeast. It does bring over the high malic acid.
Mm-hmm. And will it be sweeter or drier?
甘口ですか、それとも辛口ですか？
甘口に仕上げようかなと思ってます。
It'll be sweet sake.
Yeah, that's interesting. Why is that? Why do they want to do sweet with the high malic acid?
なぜ、クォータ酸のものを、甘口にしようと思われたんでしょうか？
一つは夏に飲んでいただきたい惣菜としてご用意する予定で、アルコール度数を13度台まで原酒で落とそうと思ってるんですよね。そうすると、ミウス感、薄くならないように甘みでボディを足してあげようと思ってます。
So actually, it's even though it's not diluted, the fermentation goal is going up to the 13% alcohol content, so that they aim to bring it over the sweetness instead. It's not like they're gonna dilute it with water. The final product will be 13%.
Right. That's very similar to some of the other ones with similar yeasts. Tend to be low alcohol. Like with Kiko Jozo. And then how many different projects are they working on, and what does that evolution process look like? Is that they make the batch once and then they decide it's great, or do they iterate that a number of times?
なんか、どのように実際になんでしょうね。今年は何かこれをやろうとか、そういうような感じで決めてるのでしょうか。それとも、なんか例えば、じゃあ今度、リンゴさんのものを作られますよね。それをずっと、続けていくのかとか、何か決定するのに、考えている背景みたいなのを教えてもらえれば。
弊社大設計は年間に約90本ぐらいのお酒、タンクで仕込むんですけども、そのうち1割程度は新たな取り組みをしていきたいと思って、ちょっとチャレンジングな取り組みを含めて仕込み計画を立てております。
So, of course, they have the 90 tanks that they make in a year, but then 10% they aim to make a new challenge sake. And that has always been on their plan to make the new 10% would be the new type of sake. 実際に例えば質問でお酒の新しい味を決めるのにどれくらいかかりますか？何度も作られてからその商品にしようと思ってるのでしょうかっていう質問が来てるんですけれども。
はい。そういったチャレンジ、試作をしながら、実際に仕込むというパターンもございますし、ぶっつけ本番というものもあります。
Well, there are times that they try in a smaller batch to go with the taste, to decide on the taste, but there are times that they just go with it without trying and making it.
And do they sell most of those at the brewery or at local shops, or where do they sell that 10% test batches or challenge batches?
なんか 10% 新たに取り組んでいるお酒というのはどこら辺で買えるものなんでしょうか？地元しか買えないとかそういう感じでしょうか？
実はそのうちどのぐらいが実際に商品化するかっていうのは決めてなくてですね、実際に商品にならないものもあります。
Actually, the 10% is a challenge sake, so it doesn't really, be determined to become a product. Some of them do not be final product actually. So, not all of them will be final product, even though they do the 10% challenge.
So they just drink it themselves?
その 10% で、 うまくいったものに関しては、売り出される感じですか？うまくいかなかったら、まあ、売り出されないっていう感じで、
そうですね。
うまくいかなかったものは自分たちで飲んでるような感じですか？
うまくいかなかったものに関しては、普通酒にちょっとずつ混ぜながら、味の変化が極力少ないような形にして、一応商品にはしてます。
Well, the ones that didn't become a product, then of course it'll be mixed with the sushi a little bit, so that it's not like they're gonna throw it away.
Got it.
新しい商品として、まあ、美味しかったら、まあ、リリースされるっていう感じですよね。で、それは本当に小さな量を、地元で販売みたいな感じですかね。
そうですね。少しの量しか仕込まないものもありますし、後ろに見えてる1万1000リッターのタンクで、仕込んで、極力多くの皆様にお届けできるような商品にしたいなといったものもございます。
Yeah, of course, there are, the new challenge sake that is made in 11,000 liter. And those, they would like to provide to the people who may want it. But it's just 10%, so it's not too much.
Excellent. And then Kristen was asking about the lab. Is there a good Wi-Fi that we could see the lab?
分析のお部屋っていうのは見れますかね？
はい、分析部屋ですね。
はい。Yes, he's gonna go there.
Perfect. I'm gonna grab a glass of water real fast.
Okay.
ちょっと待ってくださいよ。こちらがうちの分析部屋ですね。
This is the analysis room.
こちらが日本酒度とアルコールを分析する機械。
Yeah,
で、
this
こ
is
ち
where
ら
they
が、
check.
酸度、アミノ酸度を機械する。
That is the machine to check the amino acidity, acidity level, and then the right-hand side was the alcohol content percentage, and then the SMB, sake meter value.
画面を見ても私はわからないです。
Yeah, maybe a little bit difficult to understand due to the the numbers.
一応これ酸度ですよね、多分。
This is the amino acidity level. Acidity level.
はい。
Very cool.
なんか質問が来ていて、毎日タンクのタンクのアルコール度数とかは調べたりとかしてるんですかね？仕込みの時に。
各オクラさんで考え方は違うと思いますが、例えば、細かくて申し訳ありませんが、これがうちの分析機を全部記入している表になりますけども、もろみの前半は2日に1回ぐらいのペースでの分析になりますが、もろみの後半、絞るタイミングというのはやっぱり分析機が大事になって分析をしております。
Yeah, in the first half, you can see that they have been checking less on the first half, but on the latter half, it'll be checked every day. But then the first half is like once in 2 days, 3 days that they check the alcohol level because it's the early stage of the fermentation.
Very cool. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I want to just tell everybody, don't leave. I'm going to let the brewery go in a little bit here, but don't leave because I wanted to just talk to you guys a little bit all because this is the last time we'll get together before the end of the calendar. And so I wanted to get a little bit of feedback on a couple different things. We'll let the brewery go here in a minute, but don't check out quite just yet. Good. Kyoko, what did you think? You've never been to this brewery before, right?
No, I've been to several ones in Nagano Prefecture, but I've never been to Daisekkei before.
Are they one of the biggest? I mean, they're not as big as Mizumi, right? But they're one of the biggest in Nagano?
Yeah, I think they're one of the biggest in Nagano Prefecture. It's located in Azumino, so it's kind of like a little bit difficult to go. But yes, it's a nice area, I feel like. ありがとうございます。
Arigato.
ありがとうございます。
This is really, really fantastic. Thank you so much, Usui-san.
臼井さん、本当にお時間取っていただいて、いろいろと見せていただきました。ありがとうございま
いえ、
した。
すいません。拙い説明でしたけども、楽しんでいただけたら嬉しいです。
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tour today.
Yes, it's really fascinating to see.
もういろいろと見せていただけて、すごく楽しかったです。
ありがとうございます。また何かの機会、また長野県にお越しの際はぜひお立ち寄りください。
Yeah, if you ever come to Nagano Prefecture, please do come visit the brewery.
Yes, great skiing and great sake in Nagano.
長野はスキーもいいですし、お酒も美味しいですね。
そうですね。ようやく白馬村もスキー場オープンしましたので。
Yeah, the Hakuba village have opened the skiing of skiing where you can go do the skiing and snowboarding. So it'll be fun for those skiers and snowboarders.
Yes, excellent, excellent. Cool. Well, you could tell Usui-san that he's welcome to log off if he wants. So thank you. And we're just going to chat a little bit about the calendar now. So thank you very
そうで
much.
すね。今回はもうお時間になりましたので、もう退出していただいても大丈夫です。この度はお時間取っていただきましてありがとうございました。
はい、すみません。ありがとうございます。またお願いいたします。それでは失礼いたします。
Arigatou gozaimasu.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, I will head off as well, if that's
Okay.
okay.
No problem. Thank
Right.
you very
Nice
much.
meeting you, everybody. If you're ever in Tokyo, please come to my sake tasting room. It's unlimited, so you guys can try maybe. We have 50 to 60 different kinds, so you're welcome to try as many as you like.
Amazing. You absolutely have to go.
All right. Nice
Yeah, it's
meeting
right in
you.
Tsukiji.
Bye.
It's really easy to get to.
Yeah, it's in Tsukiji, nearby the fish market, outer market. Bye, everyone. Enjoy.
Thank
Bye.
you. Cool. Well, thank you all. I'm going to just